And welcome back. This segment of the Sports Source is brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. We're about to hit the dog days of summer, and you might as well call those the mosquito days of summer because they're still going to be out there. But you can clear them out for good or just for a single outdoor event if you got a wedding or some sort of family reunion or something going on. Southeast Termite and Pest Control have all kinds of treatments of every single type. All you have to do is call them, and they will set it up for you. One time, multi-time, whatever, they can do it. Southeast Termite and Pest Control, they are absolutely the best in East Tennessee and have been since way back in 1971. All right, last segment we talked about areas of the team that might be a little overhyped. In this, I want to talk about those areas that might be a little underrated, that aren't getting the coverage they deserve. Could be something positive not enough people are talking about. Could be something negative, a warning. I'll let you guys go, and I'll throw mine in at the end. Who wants to start?
I can kick us off with I'll start with a negative and go to a positive. Austin Pope, people just, he only caught 4 balls last year. We've got these other 4-star tight ends coming in. Listen, he was the lead blocker for probably 85-90% of Tennessee's run plays last year, and he was.
I read that somewhere.
Yes,
Chattanooga coaches.
I've been told. My sources tell me the Athletic has wrote significantly about this, and they don't have anybody behind him.
Right.
You have no one that has contributed in really any meaningful way, and that is going to be a big problem. And I think people just. And I think, too, it was kind of unclear how long he was going to be out. And maybe if there's a spring season, maybe, I don't know. If there's a fall season, he's not going to play. And so that's going to be huge. Now, positive, I think Tennessee's got a lot of really, really promising bodies at the edge rusher spot. Roman Harrison, we'll see what Quavaris Crouch does. Tyler Barron can get in the mix. I think, obviously, Kevon Bennett, I think, is going to have a huge year. I think they could really do some really special things rushing the passer from the outside. So I think that people are underrating how good some of those guys can be.
All right.
Well, it's interesting. You're underrated for a positive standpoint as my underrated from maybe more of a negative standpoint because I don't think people are talking about the need to develop some of those stars and to have someone, maybe multiple, rise up. I mean, they honestly needed more of a pass rush than just Darrell Taylor last year, and he was most of their tackles for loss and especially their sacks. So that position needs to come through with some stars if you're going to be good on defense. So that's my number one, is finding those pass rushers, whether they're promising or not.
Well, and you're also not going to have Taylor. So it's not just you lost him, but the opposing teams aren't going to be able, they are going to have to focus on him, which might have opened the door to a Kevon Bennett to show off a little bit more, especially toward the end of the season. So not only do you have to develop somebody, but you're losing somebody who helped mask over issues last year, I thought.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's odd, Tyler Barron coming in. He's like an NFL 6'5", 255. He's like 18. It's ridiculous. Like you don't see guys like that, and I think that can go a long ways, especially the season where everybody's sort of flying by the seat of their pants.
One of mine would be kind of like I think it's kind of plagued Tennessee for a while. Would be the red zone woes, a storyline that you need to look at. How many touchdowns do you have against SEC competition? You go back and look at Tennessee. Samaglia is kicking a lot of field goals. Bowl game, exactly. I mean, I think he's, right now his conversion percentage is like 77%, which is second in school history. There's somebody that may not be getting as much love as he deserves, but at the same time, the inability to put the ball in the end zone, the red zone woes, I think is like a huge story.
That's a really good one. I'm wishing now I had that one. I don't know. This year 17, I don't remember ever saying I wish I had Chuck's point.
Yeah, it goes back to what we were talking about in the previous segment, but the offensive line thing. Tennessee has been so bad the last 2 years of we need 2 yards. They know we need 2 yards. Can you go get it?
Right.
They have not done that well at all.
And you're also you haven't been consistent with your passing game.
Exactly.
So they can kind of tee off on the run. The one thing go ahead.
No, I was just going to have 2 other quick ones real quick. One is the new coaches and new coaching at positions.
Yeah.
Are they going to be able, how are they going to do in terms of game planning and on game day? Because we don't know that. Good recruiter has been a good start. So that's one. The other one is how experienced this team is. They have 25 seniors between redshirt seniors and seniors. And when you look at them, they project for 12, 13 of them maybe being starters. When you have half of your 22 being seniors, that's pretty unusual for this high level of football. So that's a plus that I don't think is getting enough attention either.
That was going to be my most underrated.
Okay.
We talked earlier a couple segments ago about will defenses be ahead of offenses? I think so. Will that benefit Tennessee? Jeremy Pruitt's a pretty good defensive coordinator. You would think yes, but Your entire front seven's coached by new guys who haven't worked with them. I mean, they know Brian Niedermeyer, but he's not at that position.
Right.
So I just wonder about. I think that needs more of a spotlight on it right now. The fact that not only have you not had as much practice time as you normally would at this point, but you got a lot of new guys working with new coaches at this point. To me, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to work.
Right.
By any stretch. But it does put up the question mark, I think, of how they do. And also, you look at tight end position where we just mentioned Austin Pope. It's a great point. Losing him is huge. New position coach there with Niedermeyer moving to defense. So the new coaches, or different coaches, I think is one that probably needs a little bit more attention this summer. But for some reason, we've all been talking about this COVID thing. When we come back, what are we going to do next? We're going to talk a little bit about basketball. Do we feel better? Basketball is a much smaller roster. Do we feel better about basketball pulling off a regular season, semi-regular season, than we do football? Come on back, we'll discuss that.